Hey, welcome to episode 27. We're here with producer Rob, myself, and it's very rarely do you get a chance to have a guy on a podcast that is also a friend of yours, and also you get a chance that I've worked with on the baseball field, and then he goes on to another direction, and I go to another direction, and we sit here, and we have Alec Moss today. He is the athletic director at Notre Dame High School, and show you how old I am. He's beginning his first of all. You're beginning, Alec. Welcome. Thanks for being here, brother.
Thanks for having me, Denny. Excited to be part of the podcast.
Yeah, it's we're on number 27, if you can imagine that. Okay, and we're trying to. We got a big group out there, Alex. Pretend you're talking to about 3 million people. That's what my head says. Okay. Perfect. Or just a dugout of about 21 high school players. So either way, Alec, you're beginning now. I did a little research on you. It's awkward when you do research, Rob, on a guy that, first of all, I saw you play in high school, and you with Brendan Ryan and the boys. And I remember wanting to recruit Alec in high school. This guy was all CIF, Coach Moss, all CIF, and he's a catcher, and he hit six. What'd you hit, Coach? 615. What's the number on that, Coach? I know you don't want to talk too much about it, but
my junior year, I hit 618.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I thought you were kidding.
No, I haven't seen I haven't seen it, but I just know I heard about it every single day. But hey, Coach and I had a chance to work together at Notre Dame High School for the last 8-9 years. And you came on at Notre Dame, Coach, I think in about 2009.
Yeah, so I've been at Notre Dame for a while. Graduated from Notre Dame, played in college, came back to Notre Dame, started coaching the Knights, and then left for a couple of years to go coach in college, and then came back. And this is my third season not coaching college baseball. I've become the athletic director here at Notre Dame 3 years ago. So Notre Dame's in my DNA.
Yeah. I think where we both agree on, where we both go there. I went to Notre Dame High School as well. And my bias towards Notre Dame, 100%. And those that listen out there from Harvard, Westlake, and from Chaminade, and Alabama, they're all out there, Coach. And we're the audience is our audience is we work through this is the 8th grader, the 7th grader, the high school kid, and the college kid. It's right through there. And we've been doing some series of what it takes to be on the field, but there's more than just being a high school or an 8th grade athlete or a 7th grade athlete or a high school athlete than just sports. Would you agree on that?
100%. And I think, athletics is something that kids relate to right off the bat. They love it. They spend a lot of their time doing it. They see their parents enjoying it. They go home and they watch games on TV and see all the star power and the flash and dash out there on the baseball field or the basketball court. But when I would say transitioning in my new role as the athletic director, nothing becomes more apparent to me than what type of character and hard work do kids have as students, as being part of a family, as friends, is really what takes the really good athletes to the next level. And that's what we're trying to do here at Notre Dame, is help the entire athlete. And I know Denny tries to do that as a coach. I got to coach with Denny for a long time, and definitely his passion for sports and people is the first thing that jumps off the page at me. But it doesn't matter at the end of the day if you don't like working with somebody, if you don't like being a teammate with somebody. So being a good person and a good family member, and to me, having high character is what really separates the guys on the TV who do it for a really long period of time and make a lot of money, or the ones with really high character.
Wilson, now you've played the game. You've also have friends that have played professionally, and now they're also in the same business you're in right now. Some of the guys, meaning in the educational side. There's many ways of going about playing, but and we'll edit some of this out. But I want to grab onto what you just said, Alec. What are you looking for now? You were director of admissions prior to becoming an athletic director. You were also an assistant coach at Xavier University, a very quality university, both academically and athletically. And what's the common denominator, or what are we looking at in families and in kids when they arrive at Notre Dame High School as an athletic director or as a director of admissions?
Yeah, at Notre Dame, I think the thing that's going to separate kids from being successful athletically and in the classroom is work ethic. Is, Notre Dame, like a lot of these great schools in the Mission League that we compete against, and I know a lot of those coaches as well, the academics have to come first. You have to work in the classroom. Teachers are expecting you to do your side in the classroom. That's, be on time, ask good questions, don't be a knucklehead, pay attention, bring more to the class than you take away. And the same would go in the athletic fields. I know with Denny coaching baseball, we would look at guys all the time and say, this guy's bringing a lot to this team. They might not be the 4-hitter, they might not be the shortstop or the starting pitcher, but they bring value to a team. And if you can bring value to a school, bring value to a classroom, bring value to a team, bring value to a group of friends, Notre Dame wants you, Harvard Westlake wants you, Chaminade wants you, and you'll find a way to stay within a program for a longer period of time. Denny, you mentioned a couple of the guys that got to play professional baseball that I went to school with. They don't have the best career numbers, but they brought something to the table that made it very difficult for a team to get rid of them. Whether it's Brendan Ryan being the best defensive shortstop in Major League Baseball over a period of time, maybe the offensive numbers weren't there, but they couldn't deny his defensive ability. Chris Dickerson being a great teammate, being versatile, playing multiple positions, caring about the organization and the community that the organization that he's played in at the same time. Guys couldn't deny that. They wanted that part of the program. Brett Hayes, a catcher for a long time, who's now a major league bench coach. Just being a solid human being who had no problem doing whatever was asked of him and never saying boo. Those guys got to play 10 plus years in the major leagues. We're talking to some kids on this podcast and some families who are just trying to make their high school team and stay as long as they can, which is a great goal. But how are you going to do that? And, not everyone can be the best player on the team.
God, you said, Coach, I've seen and looking at some of your, if you again, Alec Moss, our athletic director at Notre Dame High School, and I keep saying Notre Dame High School. Alec, I could put, I don't know, I know this isn't going to be your last stop. I don't want to Notre Dame thinking that, but there's going to be other programs for you. I think the college level you're going to, you have a skill set that you're looking for something. When you say athletic director, you're not looking at just the athlete itself. There's more to being an athlete or an athletic director. Am I right there?
Yeah, I probably spend a majority of my day, unfortunately, at times dealing with off the field issues more than on the field issues. Mm-hmm. And we got a great school here, and that happens everywhere, so we are looking at as a school for well-rounded, great kids.
God.
And great coaches, well-rounded, great coaches like yourself, Denny. You care about, you get with your program, I'm assuming, not putting words in your mouth. You want kids who want to be there, who come to practice every day, ready to go. And we are looking for kids who do that on the school front.
Absolutely. I know, Coach, and we would sit in those office meetings and I'll tell you, Rob, if you want to jump in anytime, go ahead.
Yeah, I had a question in a minute. Yeah.
We sit in there and first of all, you got to, as an athletic director, you're looking at the athletes, but you're also making sure your coaches are on the same plan. I see that smirk on your face right now, but you're not just looking at the athletes anymore as you were at Notre Dame or at Xavier. Now you want to bring in the right coach to come in to make sure that we're giving these kids. I've always said to myself, I coach these kids, but my job is to assist them into moving on in whatever area it may be. Either as a broadcaster in sports or as a doctor. When I was the head coach at Occidental, I didn't have a bunch of, Stantons and Brennan Ryans out there. I was coaching guys that right now today are making triple times the money I've ever made. And they're doctors or lawyers. But when you're looking at a coach coming in, what do you expect out of your coaching staff? And I don't mean to jump off topic, but what are you expecting out of your coaches that you're hiring? I know you just hired about 6 new coaches this past year. Somewhere in there.
First thing's character, high character,
right on,
accountability, somebody who can be there every day. I think that's one of the things that, one of the reasons a program like our baseball program has been successful is we have guys who show up every day as coaches. and pretty much our kids know what they're going to get from their coach. I look for consistency in their message and consistency in their body language and attitude. High school kids, kids growing up, playing for the Batters in 7th and 8th grade, they're going through a lot of changes in life. You know, they're going to school, they're meeting new friends, they're developing relationships, their bodies are changing. So if we can provide a consistent atmosphere for them daily that they can look forward to going to, I think that's the best thing we can do for them. Do we have the best coaches that have coached at the highest level and know all the ins and outs and have the connections? We got a few of those, but more than likely, we've got a coach who is consistent, is going to be there, cares about our kids. Whether they play them or not, they care about them. They want them to be successful in life. That's what I'm looking for.
Yeah, God, I could see that. Go ahead.
That's awesome. Hey, Coach, real quick, and it's great news, and I'll be on camera here for a second. It's great news that you're still looking for good teammates. I know we've talked to a couple scouts, professional scouts on this show, and they're looking for the same thing. Have you seen that change over the years? Or are pro scouts looking for good kids as opposed to good players, or a combination of both? And I'd love to hear your input on that.
Yeah. I think for the most part, we're all looking for the same thing. That where you see the largest difference is when it comes to college and professional sports. There's a large financial tag associated with all these things. So college baseball coaches, for example, I was one for a couple of years, and it's changed a little bit since then, but you are coaching for your job year in and year out. You are working for a university that's spending a lot of money on its athletic program. Not that our high schools are not, but these guys are making big salaries. People are being employed based on the kids who are playing in their program and the results on the field. The same with the professional scout and professional organizations. There's a dollar tag assigned to this that means a lot. Sure. But I would say, first and foremost, if you don't have character, if you're not accountable, if you're not a good person, you're not going to last in the business, no matter how talented you are. And that's in high school, that's in college, that's professionally, and that's just not in athletics. I would bring that.
I'd say that's life, right?
Yeah. That's in life. And I think that is something, not to get negative, that gets overlooked at times with younger kids, is it becomes all about athletic development and less about maybe being a good person.
Yeah, man. I know you sent something out earlier. When I talk to you, I look at adults. It's funny knowing a guy that now has a beautiful young son and a beautiful wife and your parents. And I know the Moss family, and I know how competitive you are to make sure that our kids succeed. I love what you said about consistency in the message. Your message has always been, and you and we've disagreed many times in a dugout. We disagreed on this guy and that guy. Denny, what are we doing out there? I mean, if I can hear that voice once, I've heard 1,000 times. And I want to tell, it's great having.
Do I need to say that about the podcast? Denny, what are you doing out there?
Tell you, working with this gentleman we're talking to, the reason why people are where they are, why people are athletic directors and are good at what they do, is because of the character that you provide. You started as a baseball coach, and you go to the director of admissions. And what you do, though, I think, and you want from your coaching staff, is you want us to be consistent, organized, consistent in the message, consistent in every area, practices and so forth. But what I want to find out is what do you expect from a high school athlete? I want to ask that question. And then I want to follow up with kind of, how do you allow your kids to be, how do we have these parents, and God bless the parents. People make fun of parents, not make fun. You chastise parents. Oh, it's daddy ball, all this. The parents are important in this whole. You're a parent now, Alec. I'm a parent. We've got, my kids now in their 20s, and I know your son, but I don't like to be so negative. Rob's got 2 kids at Chaminade, Alec, which is fine. I mean, it's just he had a chance at Notre Dame. He went to Chaminade. I don't give a rat's tail. I mean, no, they're great kids. But tell me, man, what's our expectation as a coach, and you are athletic director, coach for a high school athlete?
The expectation that I have of our athletes here is that if you're going to commit to something, you are fully committed, and you are committed to the set of standards that that team, school, group of young men or young women have, and the coaches have put in front of them, because we don't just throw that together, believe it or not, which I think some people don't necessarily understand. There's a lot that goes into planning for a season. And we're trying not to look at it from just one season, but we're looking at it for 10 seasons down the road. What we're doing right now is building upon what I did as a player and Stanton did as a player and you did as a player before me, Denny, to try and make things better, constantly make them better. But live up to the expectation that we're continuously growing, and we're a Catholic high school. So from a player, that we're looking for that they're buying in. They are buying in. Yes, they might play on a lot of other teams. They might get other instruction, but when you're part of a team, you need to answer to what those coaches have put in front of you. And as a parent, we're looking for the buy-in that you're going to support your son or daughter within within the structure that school or that team or that group of individuals, travel team like Denny's doing, puts in front of you. Because it's really easy to take your ball and go to another team because you don't like it. But athletics is teaching life lessons. And so if you're constantly jumping from one team to the next, or can't get along with coach after coach after coach, at some point we got to look internally at ourselves. And so it doesn't mean you have to like being on every team. Not every team is made for everybody. Everybody's got a different role on a team. But when looking at a student athlete, we're looking for them to buy in and become better themselves every day to become a contributing member to that team.
Right on, man. I think and what I'm hearing you say is I don't know how many kids out of our high school is going to go on and play in the major leagues. And so what what I teach our young guys, if you're going to come to Notre Dame, first of all, we know when you arrive to Notre Dame, we know that it's a small fraternity we're talking just baseball, but in any sport that you're the athletic, that all our sports. What do we have? 19 sports at Notre Dame? How many have we there? 19?
More than that, but yeah.
Yeah. And so you're dealing with the cross country on one week, and then by the way, can we keep cross country off our field, Alec? It's starting to frustrate me a little bit. Maybe this isn't the time.
They need a place to run, Denny.
I get it. I can only imagine. We go out to J. Sarah. You see a field. You've been out to J. Sarah?
I have.
Okay.
Yes.
It's about 5 miles
Yes.
of facility.
Yeah.
You come to Notre Dame, you got a block of to put all that together. Then you're putting more parking lots in our field. There's space and taking off. No more. We just got parking.
The parking lot's impressive, by the way.
It's impressive. But
Can't play many ball games in there, though.
I like seeing when the balls leave the yard and get into that parking lot. That's why it's out there. But when you're talking to these parents, Alec, and there's parents listening right now. My son's in 8th grade. My son's in 7th grade. Son's in 6th grade. They're thinking, okay, God, I'm glad we have an athletic director, because I don't know what Denny's saying, and I don't know what this coach is saying, but what would you recommend to a parent with their son, whether it's Notre Dame or not, to be there for their kid, how to direct their kid to the high school that needs to be, and what their responsibility is as a parent in this?
Oh man, that's a loaded question, Denny.
It is, because you're a parent too. And by the way, I'll be coaching your kid one day. So go right ahead, man.
I think when you're looking at a high school, you need to look at all parts of it. Okay. A high school baseball season, or I tell people all the time, a high school football season is 10, 14, 15 games if you're lucky for football, 25 games for baseball, lucky 30 games at the end of the season. But there's so much more growth that takes place other than on a baseball field, the football field, in the gym. So when you're looking at a high school, you look at a high school for all the different things that it can provide for your son or daughter. And people and opportunities for your kids to try new things and be around other good people and be safe and be challenged and held to high expectations. I don't think I want to be at a place that the parents are running the show. And I want to be able to be a parent and be able to watch my son or my daughter grow and be challenged and those type of things. And same for an athlete, with a coach, be in a program, you're going to play good talent. You're going to have opportunities to practice hard. get plenty of practice time, and be put in situations that's going to challenge your son or daughter. And, all you can do is supplement things to put them in a position to be successful.
Yeah.
But it needs to be enjoyable as well for them, and not enjoyable meaning they get to play all the time or they're always going to be successful, but enjoyable where they can be around other good people. And as a parent, you can say to them, hey, wasn't that fun being out there, and that, you didn't get in, but there were hundreds of people watching your team play, and it came down to the last inning and your friend got a big base hit. That's what high school's about. That's what, at my 21-year reunion this weekend with all my high school baseball buddies, we were talking about playing at Dodger Stadium and all the fun times we had off the field. That's what means something.
Right on. Right on. There's the experience we're talking about. I hear you want to.
Can I follow up real quick too? And I'm seeing this more often with my kids. I have a 9th grader and a 10th grader. And the 9th grader just showed me an Instagram commitment from one of his high school baseball buddies, saying they were going to a certain college. I'm like, the kid is in 9th grade. How are you committed? What's going on here? Is there what's really happening? I know when I played, we were just happy in 10th grade that we made the varsity. I mean, that was like a feat beyond feat. What's going on? 8th graders, 7th graders, 9th graders committing to colleges, or colleges committing to them. Is that reality? What's that all about, Alec?
I would say about a third of it is, not even a third of it is reality.
Okay.
So much of our identities as high school kids these days is tied up around a social media kind of life that they are portraying out there to other people. The other thing I'd like to say is, I think one thing that we're greatly missing is when kids are coming into high school and excited about coming to Notre Dame, as soon as they're accepted or excited to go to Chaminade or Harvard Westlake, a majority of kids are now turning their attention to, where am I going to college? And a lot, if you listen to a lot of coaches, I used to say this to we had a very talented team at the end of my career coaching, and they would give me a little hard time, but I just got a text from one of them saying they heard the same thing from their college coaches: be where your feet are. Be in the moment is another way of saying be in the moment.
Yeah.
And social media and getting commitments and accolades and recognition from colleges is now overtaking being where you are and enjoying what's going on, or not enjoying it. But social media has taken us away from feeling all the feelings we should have as we're growing up as young adults: the success, the failure, the good, the bad. That's what makes people them. Denny has gone through ups and downs and ins and outs. That's what makes Denny, myself included. I think everyone listening here as an adult could say they've had a lot of good, positive things that happen, but those good and positive things were either, surrounded by negative things, and commitments are happening earlier. College, the NCAA is putting rules around that in place to, eliminate that. The transfer portal is becoming a lot bigger because kids are committing earlier and making poor decisions just so they can put on their social media that they are committed. So that's a big conversation. I'd happily have a podcast about that, but that's a big thing. And I think parents need to be aware and not fall into the trap of wanting their kid to commit so they can put it on social media versus wanting their kid to commit because they've put the hard work in. They're finding the right school for them to continue their college education.
Does it, hey man, on that, Alec, does it happen more in baseball, man? It's funny, I don't talk about that much. It's I know about the recruiting, or I know about the early signings. We've had guys come in, Rob, to be honest with you. They've signed before they played one varsity high school game.
Well, they've committed, not to interrupt you, they've committed.
Thank you.
You cannot sign actually until tomorrow. Tomorrow's National Signing Day here in the country. In Notre Dame, a little shameless plug. We got 13 athletes signing tomorrow morning, which is outstanding.
Nice. Awesome.
But we've also had athletes at Notre Dame who have verbally committed before they've played a game. And then, when their senior year comes around, when they can sign, a lot has changed, and they've either taken themselves out of the market and, backed themselves into a corner, because a college does not have to remain committed to that before you sign on the dotted line.
You have to hold the grades. You have to keep your character high. There's a lot that could go bad.
Yes.
I hate to say that, or a lot that could go good as well during that time, but that's a lot of pressure to put on a kid at 9th grade.
Rob, to your point, there's more to lose than there is to gain by committing at an early age.
Yep. That's
Well
great. Thank you.
said, Coach.
More to lose than there is to gain.
That's exactly right. I can only imagine, and I'm thinking on example, a couple of the arms we had go out there, a couple of the arms going, I'm committed. And every time you go out there to have a bad outing or outing that struggle or what have you, the more pressure you put on every outing. And we tell kids, Coach, you mentioned earlier about being a good teammate. How can you just focus on being a teammate when you're thinking about going to college? How do you tell a kid, hey, hold on, Coach, I hear what you're saying, Mr. Moss. I hear you loud and clear, but I got a future I got to think about. So now what do? I got my own personal trainer. I got my own personal pitching coach. I got my own personal hitting coach. I go on and on and on. Yet you want to commit to the team. It's a challenge for you. It's a challenge to have that conversation when a parent reaches out to you, I can imagine.
It's challenging, and it's unfortunate that it happens, not just in baseball, but in a lot of sports. It becomes the chase for something out there as opposed to being where your feet are, being in the moment, taking life as it's thrown at you. Not to say you can't continue to get better. You can't go and hit every night off a tee and take 100 ground balls off your garage door with a tennis ball. Like, I feel like that's lost.
Totally.
One of the best shortstops that ever played Major League Baseball happened to go to Notre Dame, got a 10-year career. He didn't have private coaches.
Right.
He threw a tennis ball against his garage hours upon hours, night after night.
Yes. Yeah.
And he loved baseball, and he loved being on teams, and he wasn't going to allow it to, and he was the least recruited guy in our program, you know.
He came to Lewis Clark State. He came to Lewis Clark State for a little bit.
For you, Denny. And you know, these other guys got to the big leagues, weren't on varsity as freshmen, weren't on varsity as sophomores.
Right.
And they played, you know, Mike Stanton played first varsity baseball game at Notre Dame High School as a junior when he came. And I don't even know if he played every game that year.
Right.
Started every game.
See, man, that's information.
It happens for people at different times. And just because you're not committing as a freshman, or just because you're not going to a Division I school right off the bat, doesn't mean you can't get there. But maybe that's the steps of not getting there is what takes you over the edge to be successful. But we have to allow our kids to go through those things.
God, Coach. You know, Alec, I swear to you, every time I see it, I'm going to see you later on. Maybe I see you on campus all day long. But the stuff that you're just saying right now is priceless to get to people to understand, to just stick with the process and go. I coached Freddie Sanchez at Glendale College. He went to the big leagues. I coached Brendan Ryan at Lewis Clark State College. He went to the big leagues. But both of them were both shortstops, and both of them had their different paths to get there. And by the way, the big leagues doesn't need to be the big leagues. I think what both these guys have, and Freddie now does a something in Arizona with a baseball group and so forth. Brendan, his personality, I know, but I learned from you, don't pick up Brendan's glove, right, man? When it's laying down there, don't touch his glove. Great story, right? An alumni game about a couple of years ago. And Alec was Brendan's roommate. I mean, not roommate, but teammate. And they know each other much better. I just coach Brendan, but I don't have the relationship you had of him. And his glove was down there. And I pick it up. And I'm in my 50s. And Coach says, hey, man, don't pick that thing up, man. He's not going to like it. And you meant it, didn't you?
Yep. I mean,
yeah.
That's his moneymaker right there.
That's his deal. And I thought, man, the pride that Brendan had in his defensive skills, and the nice
you get hurt less breaking into his home than you would.
That's exactly right. But you can see that one thing about Notre Dame, and we're ending this pretty soon, but I want to talk a little about, you know, you're at Notre Dame High School. The beauty of Notre Dame, and this is why I'm still there. I had my dad graduate in 52. I had a brother in 75, 77. I'm 82. Alec, you were 2000, I believe, right?
2000, yep.
Yeah, and then to see the players come back to the school. Our alumni games are tougher than, in baseball at least, are tougher than anything. Now we have, and I say now, it's been there for 30, 40 years now with the girls, but then it was all boys. But to watch what you guys do, Alec, at Notre Dame, and to bring the graduates back on campus, it's beautiful to see what these people, whether they're bankers, whether they're lawyers, doctors, whatever, to watch them come back and go, and they'll go in a uniform. They come out to our alumni game and you see these guys in the uni and go, who's that guy? And you'll say, well, yeah, he's this. He's the owner of 9 million properties or what have you. But the relationships you made at Notre Dame, Alec, do you still have these today?
Oh yeah. I mean, like I mentioned earlier, I just had my 20+1 because of COVID year high school reunion on Saturday night.
Wow.
And I mean, the best part was seeing these people I
Yeah.
hadn't seen in years coming up to me, giving me a hug, and us talking about life and our families and memories we had. And it had nothing to do with what they're doing now and if they're successful or they're not successful. It's just good to be around people who care about a school. And I'm sure, and I know you have an audience, it's not just Notre Dame, but these places that we're very fortunate here in the San Fernando Valley. There's a lot of great schools with people. You're going to get a great education with good people, and you're going to meet good people. And one of the things I always think of, you mentioned the alumni game and coming back and seeing friends and playing, is one of the aspects I didn't mention earlier, we look for in an athlete is flat out competitiveness. And I don't care. I'm 40 years old. Those guys aren't going to beat me in an alumni game this year, next year. The group of guys they're not going to beat us. And we're going to scratch and claw to win that game. And at the end, we're going to hug and we're going to say, good luck this year. And we're all together. If you need anything from me as a Notre Dame alum, I'm here for the Notre Dame students. But competitiveness, teach your kids to be competitive when you're between the lines, when the clock's running. And after that, take a deep breath and wrap your arms around somebody and tell them great job. There's too much competitiveness through social media, through a phone, where you talk about it. You don't talk about competitiveness. You're just competitive. And you need that to be successful in life.
You had to say it. I will tell you, Rob, and those that know Alec, there is not a stronger competitor. And when you have a guy leading the athletic department at Notre Dame High School, but any department you lead, whether the baseball program, we are competitive on the same team. It was fun to coach with you, Coach, because the competitiveness that we brought. But when you have to play against the son of a gun, we had an alumni game. I think we squeezed in a run about 9 years ago. We squeezed in a run, and I'm still hearing crap. We won the ball game, haven't won one since then, of course, these guys. But to watch you guys play, like you say, 40, but I saw you at 20, I saw you at 8, I saw you at 17. And then to see nothing's changed. I don't think you can't just be competitive. I mean, you can teach it, you can grind out at bats, you can teach it, but however, there's that intrinsic motivation. I know you have, and I know that's what we're asking for when young athletes come into Notre Dame or go to any high school. That competitiveness shows. Would you agree that competitiveness?
I mean, I'm good friends with a few of the coaches. I shouldn't say a lot, but a few of the coaches in the Mission League and some in the Trinity League, of the best programs in not only Southern California, but in the country that are being recognized. I'm friends with these coaches. I talk with them on the phone. When we're on the field, we're not friends. But I'll tell you right now, if you're thinking as an 8th grader or 7th grader that you're going to go to a program, a great baseball program, a great football program, great basketball program, and play, and your kid lacks competitiveness, true fire inside of them, you might be on the team, but you're not going to contribute unless you're competitive, because those coaches are the most competitive people I know.
Without a doubt. Hey, one more topic, and I know we're getting longer. One more
roll.
topic.
Yeah,
Coach, talk to me about multiple sports, whether it's at Notre Dame or any place else, if you don't mind. And by the way, those that are listening, we're good on time. Coach Moss and I, we didn't prepare, and Coach, I appreciate the way you're just coming straight from just chat. Yeah. There's no preparation on questions, and I never wanted it that way. But talk to me a little bit, or to the people, regarding multiple sports, playing, competing in them, and so forth, and pro or con. Yeah. What have you.
So I'll tell you right now, if you're in 6th, 7th, or 8th grade and you're playing one sport, you're not doing it right. You're not doing it right. You're limiting your athleticism. You're pigeonholing yourself. You're backing yourself into a corner from what it takes to learn about being an athlete, training and using different parts of your body, different types of requirements that are used in each sport. When you get to high school, I encourage playing, multiple sports. It becomes a little more difficult because of the way the schedules are built from the CIF and how you play. But if you're not playing multiple sports right now as a 6th, 7th, or 8th grader, and learning how to be part of different teams with different coaches who value different things, you're really cutting your potential short, in my opinion.
Mhm.
And I'm not even saying you got to do it where you're paying multiple club coaches and this, that, and the other, but go playing. If you're a baseball player and you're not playing in a rec basketball league to get up and down the court and to jump and to play defense and to move your feet and to, pass and share and pick and roll and learn about sport and, dealing with winning and losing and how you can help a team win and lose. Parents, if you're not doing that for your kid and not making them, I know I don't like that term, but giving them an opportunity to grow in that way, you're really missing the boat. Because you look at Nick Saban and you look at some of these other coaches who are recruiting kids at very high levels, John Savage at UCLA. They got a lot of multiple sport athletes on those teams.
Sir. Yes, sir.
And you are really limiting your opportunity to grow as an athlete, but you're also limiting yourself from enjoying life and not being in the same grind of playing 200 travel baseball games a year.
Yeah.
And I know Denny might not like to hear this. He's got a program that is year round, which is great, but some of the kids I'm sure that Denny has on his program, or he's seen go through his program, the best ones are kids who have a multiple sport background.
100%, coach. And I don't have a problem. I tell parents, they think it the other way. They think they're selling me what I want to hear. Hey, my kid's all baseball. He's all baseball. And I'm like, okay, right away, the red flag goes up. I don't want all baseball. I want all competitiveness. I don't need all baseball. And you could see it, the athletes. Yeah, go on. What were you going to say?
Because at some point, Denny, in baseball, which you and I know a lot about, or in any other sport, that journey ends.
Yeah.
Okay. Baseball ended for me after college. It ended for you after college.
Right.
It ends for some people after their freshman year of high school. Unfortunately, it ends for some people after 8th grade year of batters.
Mm-hmm.
So what else do you have in your arsenal to go do in life? And what else do you have to enjoy in life? And why can't you don't make the team at Notre Dame, so you can't stay at Notre Dame, enjoy being a student and get involved in soccer or theater or robotics?
Right.
To me, that, we're setting our kids up for a stage of their life that might not be as enjoyable if they don't have anything else to fall back on.
Man, and I'm going to segue in it, man, coach. Well said. I can't tell you, coach, some days we'd sit in that dugout and I go, God, that guy's good. And then I'd say, some days he's good, but he pisses me off. And then some days, and even today, God, he's good. He's still pissed. But I'll tell you, if there is not, it's you have to have a good leader in whether it's a head coach on a high school team, but as us assistants, we are also mentors and leaders. And I represent Notre Dame High School, not just on the field, but in the community. And I get a chance to bring in guys. And there's other athletic directors out there. I know that, coach, and I can go out and get them, but I know what you
great ones.
Yeah. But segue into then this weekend we have, is open house. Is Notre Dame's open house this weekend?
Yep. Sunday, this Sunday from 10 to 1, everybody's welcome. And it's all these high schools have open houses.
Right.
Go to multiple open houses, come to Notre Dame's open house, ask questions, get to know the people, you see the facilities, just walk around, see how people treat one another. That's what's important about these type of days at all these schools.
No, without a doubt. And you'll see when you go there. I mean, when you did it when the admissions was going on. Now, the other side, the athletic department side, but you just arrived there and there's a feel. You went to the one in Chaminade, I imagine.
Absolutely.
And then did you?
Well, it was during COVID, which was very strange.
Yeah.
But just walking through the school, you can get a vibe.
Oh, sure.
Nobody has to be in there. It's
right.
this is where we need to be.
Right.
Yeah, this is where we need to be. And then obviously with the kids there, it's much better, but still.
Yeah.
And I would say it, and I said it as an admissions director, I'd say it, I'm sure other people, Notre Dame isn't for everybody.
Right.
Chaminade's not for everybody. Harvard Westlake's not for everybody. That is fine. Nobody expects a cookie cutter approach to this high school thing or to, travel baseball. What is our duty and responsibility as parents and as coaches is to be upfront and honest with what works well with us. What type of team and in program does Notre Dame have? Does Chaminade have? Does Harvard Westlake have? Does J. Sarah have?
Right.
Ask those questions, find out, and then ask the hardest question of the day is, am I equipped and with my life skills and my ability as a student athlete and in my family to be successful and be a contributing member in those organizations?
God, man, you just keep knocking it out, Alec. I'm telling you that I will say this. I do think it's important for parents to talk to your child. Nothing worse than we've been at Notre Dame, or you go in those interviews. You were in charge of all the interviews, and a kid going in there and saying, "Why are you here?" Well, I don't want to be here, but my parents want me to be here. Probably not a good answer. You know, right. I mean, their kids have to go through tough times and fight through it, but maybe you can sit down, parents, talk to your child about, hey, what did you like here about Notre Dame? What'd you like here? Have a conversation with that 8th grader as best that you can. I do think, I'm biased, I think Notre Dame is the best school in the Valley. I think it's the best school, and that's me. However, doesn't matter. I had 2 sons that went to Notre Dame. One went there, liked it, then didn't like it. Left, went to Grant, was all city, all everything, and had a great career there. Another kid went 4 years to Notre Dame, and he started as an athlete and finished as a thespian, as an actor, and loved the experience there. So parents, we can get some information from your 8th grader and 7th grader. And if you can't answer the question, coach, that's when you call it Alec Moss, or you call it Denny Barrett, and I refer you to the right person. But I really want parents to make sure that you're talking to the right people on making decisions. If Denny Barrett doesn't know, or your club coach doesn't know, or your volleyball club coach, you call Notre Dame and you talk to the athletic director. Would you agree, Coach?
Oh, ask a ton of questions. And I kind of can wrap it up by saying this, it's not the coaches and athletic director and school's responsibility to mold our programs for your son or your daughter. Okay. It is your responsibility as parents to find a program that best fits the mold you've created at home for your son and daughter.
Wow. Bingo.
You cannot force a square peg into a round hole. Don't try and do it in high school. Be honest about it. Yes. Be honest about what your son's or daughter's ability is. Be honest about what's important to them. Honesty is key here. Now, if there's something that doesn't quite fit, can you adjust? That's part of life. Yeah. But if it's blatantly honest that, it's very important. Your son says it's very important for him to his identity is tied to playing baseball, and maybe he's not the greatest baseball player. Find a place where his identity can be tied to baseball. Right. Don't try and force it upon them, because that's only taking the joy away from what they want to do.
Well said, Coach.